No, I think we're live. Anyways, good evening. No one's on, so this is a late notice. So this will be a taped show that we'll be able to share. So we'll pop you up here, AJ, and we'll pop up Jeff. There you go. Jeff, meet AJ. AJ, meet Jeff.
Hey man.
Hey, I thanks for coming on, AJ. I told Rich yesterday. I know it was short notice, but I half of me did not want to do this because I want less people to show up. But the Hobie half of me said that we need to make sure people know. I scouted yesterday for 4 hours. I must have found 25 places that you could launch quite easily, especially if you were not rocking a trailer. I found a few places that you could launch from a trailer. I launched today and fished all day today. I did a trailer launch today on a place that I thought was going to be mediocre. I absolutely smashed them. It's fishing great. The water's up, but it's perfect. The water is not stained. It's about 14, 17 inches of visibility. Just the tiniest bit of wind. It's literally perfect kayak fishing weather. It is absolutely perfect. And part of me didn't want to do this, but I know that we don't quite have the amount of people that we normally do. And this tournament series is more important to me than my own ego and winning and fishing against less people. So I thought, we could post this and put it out. If anybody's on the fence, I know they've still got a day to sign up, that if you are not coming here because of what you've heard about Sam Rayburn, you're making a huge mistake.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I mean, these kayak anglers really like to sign up at the last minute, and we might not hit the numbers that we'd like to for this event, but I'll be honest, I never hit the numbers that I like to.
Sure.
Even when we have 175 at Seminole, I'm like, man, it'd been cool if we'd have hit 200. And that's just part of like being a director. You always want it to be bigger than whatever it is. But the other side of it is it doesn't really matter who shows up. We always are going to take care of the people that do come. Early on in my director years, I had to get over being upset about who doesn't come and focus on the people that do come, because the people that do come are what this sport's all about and why I am packing up all my stuff and driving to Texas, with a 10-week-old puppy that got stung by a bee this afternoon.
Oh no, bee sting.
Yeah. So he's a little under the weather.
You gonna pop him up there?
What's up, doggy?
That's Boone. Boone, right?
He's it's all about the people that are showing up to these events, man. And we got people from all over the country, all over the region. And, I think we'll be over 100. I don't know how many more than that. But it's going to be fun because, some of these guys are never going to see anybody. They're going to be tucked in these areas, and they're going to have this own little like private, lake to themselves, and it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And it's good to hear, I've heard some good reports and I've heard some slow reports, but everybody seems to be catching fish so far that I've talked to. And the thing is like, even if you can't get down there until Thursday or Friday, it's still anybody's game. It's really a leveling of the playing field, if you will. I mean, it's an entirely different body of water than it was a month ago, than what it's ever been. This lake has never been this flooded. It's never been in this position. So why not come, try to qualify for the TOC, make some money, and get some really valuable points and have a good time. That's what it's all about. We have a good time. Anglers love these events when they fish them. This one is going to be a new curveball. But we throw curveballs here at the BOS, and our anglers overcome them all the time. So that's what it's all about.
Well, that's just the tease for us here. By the way, everyone that's joined us so far are Canadian. We're still locked out, and the good news, AJ, is I originally thought it was late fall that they might open the border. Rumbling might happen. It might happen. We might make that Tennessee event. And yes, I crossed it off the figured we wouldn't be able to do it, but I've got some high hopes right now. Now I'd like to welcome Jamie Stevenson Van Bemmel. I don't know if she's still up. She wanted to attend a boss event this year. Mitch LeCoupe, Nelson Bruns, Mig Sig, Karen Poole, Scott Barton. So they're all Canadians on here. I'm not sure about Mitch. I don't know where he's from. But anyways, we all want to come back over and fish these events. Things have really grown since the last time since I've been on or to an event. But I've got my fingers crossed for September. And Jeff was talking about those new trees underwater. And sorry, Jeff. I thought you wanted to track people.
There's no secret down there right now. It's you could say that you're fishing a picnic table or a basketball goal or some new trees, and somebody could drive around the lake for 3 days and not be able to find that exact spot. So
no,
it's there's so much water. It's like the lake is. Think about it like Lake St. Clair was twice as big tomorrow as it is today.
Oh wow, really?
Like it's fishing in downtown Detroit.
No kidding, that bad?
Yeah.
I mean, we're saying Lake St. Clair is in a reservoir, but I get the point. I mean,
it's about twice as big right now as far as the surface area of water.
Wow.
I went to a launch yesterday, one of the few marina launches that's still open. But again, as I was saying to everybody, there's a lot of places to launch, especially if you go with a boondocks or a pickup truck or you're roofing your kayak, no problem at all. Trailers a little bit sketchy with some of the launches, but not. I found them. This one launch, half the parking lot was underwater, but people were still back. There had to be 60 bass boat trailers in, and they were just like everywhere, but people are still finding a way. But what's really cool is there will be no tournaments. Normally this time, Sam Rayburn, there would be 300, 400, 700, 800 boats out there, whatever they do. AJ told me if this didn't happen, I was thinking about going to Fork. There's a 400 boat Skeeter Bass Champs on Rayburn. That pressure would have been here. We're not going to have that pressure. I saw 2 bass boats where I was fishing today, 2, and 0 kayaks. So the lake is, like AJ said, you're going to be able to, like, this is the map. I mean, it's freaking huge. It reminds me a lot of Kentucky Lake, actually, with very different vegetation, but very, very similar feel to it. More alligators than Kentucky Lake.
Well, yeah, when that water comes up, those alligator haunt and those snake holes and all that stuff, those things get pushed out, and they're just out and about looking for some new areas, just like we are.
Exactly. I saw a gator today. It's probably like 4 or 5 feet. I don't care about you. Yeah, it's a little gator, but man, the fishing was good today. Like I said, I really don't want more of those hammers to come down and beat my brains in. But if you're not coming to this event, you are really missing out. It's going to be a slugfest.
Well, my original goal for this event, we got a little echo there. Who doesn't have earbuds on? Okay. Anyways, my original goal was to come and do this event and then go do the kayak championship or the Bassmaster, which I qualified for. And that's next weekend, is it not?
That's right.
It's actually Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay, so it would have been perfect. I mean, how far away is it from Sam Rayburn?
It's like 3.5 hours.
Oh my gosh!
And here's the other interesting thing there. So that whole, traditional kayak angler before a big tournament, they would show up for a full week.
Yeah.
Well, the Bassmaster Championship has a cutoff. You're not allowed to fish until Sunday. So you actually would only miss a day of pre-fishing that everybody else would get to double dip and fish both tournaments. And for me, like that kind of stuff, that's a no-brainer to get an opportunity to get as many days as you want on one lake and then only miss out on a day of pre-fishing for the other lake. Like I mean, in my opinion, that's an easy thing to do, especially as far as some of these people are traveling. I mean, and there's guys coming down from New York and New Jersey and
New
Michigan and
Mexico.
New Mexico,
Hold
but
on.
you
Quebec.
know,
We have
send,
a guy from Quebec coming.
well,
Uh,
send them on
Antoine.
over.
Well, he's actually Matthew's helping him out with a kayak, and we got him kind of set up, and he's the only one of the 5 of us that qualified that's making the trip. But I can't afford to take 2 weeks off when I get home. I guess
Right.
these young guys can do that.
You can't. What I mean, is your boss gonna fire you?
Forced quarantine in Canada.
You look like you had a good time when you got back from the States the last time. You were posting workout videos in the
Oh
morning
yeah,
and
still doing it.
alcohol and drinking in the night.
Still
I was
doing
like,
it.
I was like,
Hey,
that's the Rich I know and love. Getting
I'm on a steady running and working out again, and drinking and smoking at night.
it's a good mix. Good mix.
AJ, I got to tell you, man, I've said it a bunch of times before. This is the best run tournament series on the planet, and can't thank you enough for all that you do. I know that it is a labor of love, and we're sometimes complete asshats and make your life miserable, I'm sure. Texting you at the wee hours of the morning with stupid questions, but you run a hell of a show.
Well,
And it is the most fun that I have all year long is all these events. And I want to add to that, I just finished a West Texas kayak fishing event in OHIV, and you might want to consider that on the resume as an opportunity. That is a giant bass factory. There's not a lot of lodging around it, but it's only an hour drive to San Angelo. And I was thinking, when we fished Kentucky Lake, a lot of times we had an hour and a half drive to our spot from wherever you say. So I don't see an hour from San Angelo being that big of a deal. But man, what a bass factory that is. So just a thought.
Well, as much as you appreciate what I do for the tournament running side, I always appreciate every angler giving their plug to whatever lake they've been to recently or that's putting out good or whatever. I wish that I could put a tournament on every fishery that people suggest, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, this is Rayburn was a tough one to get into. It had been on my radar for about 3 years. As far as trying to, from the start, I wanted to run a tournament there, and it's just they fill up every weekend with tournaments. And I've already started talking to them about next year, and they're already booked out through July as far as weekends go. Like that lake gets hammered. So, but OHIV got, some publicity this spring that might put some extra boats on that girl. So we'll see how it plays out. Texas always comes out to events. We always want to have something out in that region. We'll see. But that one's been on my radar too. I don't know that it checks off all the boxes that we have to get.
It doesn't. It doesn't, but it does check off. I would go, if you did it in March, I would go out on a limb and put a wager out right now that the biggest bag in Hobie bass history would be caught. The guy that won the tournament that I just fished on caught all 5 of his fish in 1 hour, including a 14-pounder, 26 inches. So I caught an 18. He was 8 inches longer than my biggest fish. Like, just crazy.
There was a kayak tournament when a legit 26-incher, 14-pounder was caught.
Yeah.
Was it on Tourney X or
iAngler?
iAngler. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I got to ask you, can you see the comments that come up?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Then I got it. Well, first of all, say hello to Jeff Scott. He joined us also since the last time we went around. Tim Percy's asking ignorant questions to AJ. You might want to message him and tell him the happy birthday. And Ryan Lambert said, "Leave the door open, Jeff. I'm an hour out."
He's only an hour out. What am I, 80?
Yeah. Anyways, just wanted to update you on that. Hey, just want to jump across something else right now. I promised all these Canadians I'd talk a little bit about we're doing something a little different up here on Lake St. Clair this year. The Canada Day weekend, we're having just a get together. No tournament. I'm providing camping within the COVID laws of 10 people only, and I'm going to talk about it after we're done here. But AJ, you've been out on Lake St. Clair that time of the year. You want to tell people about your experience?
What time of year are you going to be there?
It will be not the last week in June, but the second week, Canada Day weekend, July 1st.
So like the week.
The same one as you
opener.
opened, the same one that you had the boss event on, same weekend.
Yeah, it definitely can be pretty special. Lake St. Clair, I've been all over the country. Lake St. Clair is one of my favorite fisheries to go to. I haven't been able to be there for 2 years now, and it literally is it's just breaks my heart, to be really honest. All my Facebook memories have popped up, and it's been a tough hit. So for those of y'all in that area, just don't take it for granted. It's an amazing fishery. I know that there's pros and cons to every fishery, but there are people that I've gone up there for over 10 years now, and having to be out of it for 2 years, like it definitely cuts me deep a little bit. I mean, it's you can catch them so many different ways, and you never know when you set that hook if it's going to be just the angriest 3-pounder you've ever caught, or just the fattest 6-pounder you've ever caught, or anything in between. And that's it can be so special. You can find a group of fish together, and you and your pals that are out there on the water with you all are hooked up together, and it's just really one of those special fisheries that if you have an opportunity to fish, whether you're fishing the American side or Canadian side, just in general, tournament or not, go to Lake St. Clair. Be aware of the weather, be aware of the conditions, because she can get a little mean. But that is one of the true gems of fishing in North America, and it's definitely one of my favorite fisheries that I've ever been to all time. So I'm gushing a little bit if you can't tell, but I miss it.
AJ, have you kept track of these Michigan guys through April and May this year? They're catching fish the size that we've never seen before in April and May. The Tyre Ollie has been going out there. He's been going out there catching 102 inches for fun in a couple hours. And like I said, I've never seen the size of fish in the bags they're getting this spring. And we're sitting on the Canadian side, maybe 10 miles away by the crow flies, and can't even go out in the water and fish target bass. It's killing us.
No, I haven't been able to. There's a few people that I'm friends with on social up there that, I've seen them post in a couple tournaments. But it's hard. It's seeing it go down when you can't go is one of those difficult things. I guess KBF has a tournament up there this weekend.
Yes, yep. And speaking of that, Jody Queen just piped in here. He says checking it out in the morning, and he's going to send you some pics, AJ, of his bass that he catches.
Yeah, tell Jody I'm blocking his number.
Yeah, okay.
Why is Jody not here?
Maybe it's closer for him. I don't know. He's trying to fish all the tournaments.
Yeah, it's still a KBF and not a BOS. Sorry.
Well,
I'm partial. Partial.
I think there's less people so far signed up for that one than there was only 33 when I last looked. So
wow,
the picking's good right now. That's a shame though for Lake St. Clair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we had the Lake St. Clair syndrome too when we went up there a couple years ago. It's our, except for California, it's been our lowest event ever. So it's just tough. I think that Michigan does such a good job of cultivating their clubs and grassroots fishing, and there's just a lot of anglers up there, and it's been impressive to watch what some of those clubs have done over the years and how it's evolved. And some of those guys reach out to me from time to time on some things, and I think that they're doing a lot of really good stuff up there in Michigan. So it might be so good that they don't feel the need to fish some of these national events when they come into their area. But like they really offer something for everybody on the grassroots club up there.
Yeah, it's getting very good. You can fish weeknight club events. You can fish weekend. They have the big events. And then there's guys from Michigan that, you know, you've seen them show up at some of the boss events. They pick a few events to do, and I think you'll see more and more in the next couple of years.
Hey, AJ, I don't want to put you on the spot, but what's the future for Boss? Do you have, like, what's the next evolution, if there is one, or is it stay the course? Sorry if I'm putting you on the spot.
No, I'm gonna. I know how to handle being put on the spot. I mean, you know, I can't give away the juice. There's too many people just watching, and you know, it's you got to know that we're building, you know, something different down the road. But I feel like our core of what we offer is here to stay, and it's how do we complement that? How do we continue to grow the sport? How do we continue to give anglers new opportunities? How do we continue to do more for the fans of the sport that want to watch our anglers? So those are all the things that we're reviewing and gathering intel on and planning for something in hopefully 23. But we will hopefully be able to announce what that is at the start of 22. Or when we release our schedule for 22. So, you know, I think we're going to be pretty much in the 7 to 10 events a year in our open schedule, where 3 of those count for Angler of the Year, and then we bring everybody together for a 3-day TOC. So I think that's pretty much our formula. I definitely could see us, pairing back an event or two, and having only 7 or 8. But definitely,
Ooh.
Hey man, if you want to come and be at every one of them with me, man, we can. It's difficult. It's 11 weekends that take me away from my other job, take me away from some just time for me. So it's definitely challenging. But the other thing is, it'll be interesting to see what our numbers look like this summer. Even though we're going to different areas, the numbers always peter out towards the end of the season. Numbers are always great hot earlier in the year. As you work into summer and fall, it definitely becomes more challenging for people to get away. And it people think they're out of it, or they'll stop chasing what they were early in the year. And so I think that, you saw KBF do it this year, where they pared back their events a little bit, and that's worked out really well for them. It just sometimes less is more. It can get really crowded in the competitive landscape, with what Bass is doing in KBF and Hobie. And, there's obviously a ton of people that will just fish one of those series, but then there's a lot of people that try to fish all of them. And it's just challenging right now. But I think that we'll find that perfect number somewhere between 7 and 10. And, we'll just kind of fine tune. It might change every year. It might be one of those things where we just have 7 next year and we have 8 the next year. And, sometimes there's factors that are out of my control, or factors in a host community. And, but with all that said, I think our core is really dialed in. And I think that, in some capacities, both Bass and KBF have looked at some of the ways that we have done the series and tried to showcase some of that within theirs. And, I think it's one of those things that, we're not where we're not maxed out at 200. So, we can continue to grow what this series is without changing it a whole lot, and get more people in these events and bigger payouts and more opportunity for new people to fish our 50 Angler Championship. But I'm not going to even drop any hints, but I've been thinking about this next opportunity for a couple years. And if we can pull it off, I think it could be a really, really amazing opportunity for anglers in our sport. And I hope that things continue to trend towards growth.
What kind of tease is that, man? Like like give it up. What are you talking about?
I'm not that easy. Y'all are on that whiskey. I'm on that water, so I'm not as loose lipped as I might be.
Are you on the
let me-
wagon there, AJ, or?
I am in my camper.
Well, I mean, are you not drinking on the wagon?
Oh, that wagon. So I didn't drink for quite a while last year, but in the last like 2 weeks, rum has been tasting really good to me. So I've been on a little rum, but I had a little too much rum last night. So I'm gonna have to save my next round of rum for when Cully and Esther and I are sitting in our campers in Jasper, Texas here in a few days. So
wow.
Well, I got to ask you one more question, and I know obviously Hobie is the title sponsor of the BOS and an incredible brand. I'm going to throw a little plug in. If you don't have a 360 this week, you're at a disadvantage. I'm just telling you right now, it made a huge difference. So
Jeff, you're supposed to be attracting people, not telling them to stay home.
I'm trying to get them to buy a 360. Like, it made a difference. You can do it.
AJ wants people at the tournament. I don't think there's that many 360s available between now and Saturday.
That's not what I heard. They're out there. You just got to get your checkbook out. But with Hobie being the only title sponsor, obviously we have all these other great sponsors, Power Pole and et cetera, et cetera. But how important is it for the angler turnout for the future of the series? Like like if 200 people show out, because this is the only series that I know that has 100% cash payout at this level. Obviously there's club events that take $5 out for iAngler or Tourney X, but how important is the turnout for the future? Which is really why I asked Rich to do this call today, because I want this tournament to be here in a decade when I'm still hopefully doing this, and bigger and better, and someday maybe there's a big check and with my name on it. So
this series, and I don't want to mislead anybody. So we publish exactly how the payouts are and how the money comes in and out. So we do take I don't remember that number right off, but it's an administrative fee that helps cover Tourney X, helps a lot of our little things that we have to deal with, with insurance and stuff like that. It's a very small amount that comes off the top of the $260 entry. So the first year it was 100% payout, but just like we are not a business of running kayak tournaments, but we are.
Right, it's not a profit center.
Correct, and that's the main thing I want people to understand is we are not making money off of our tournaments. So I think that's a big reason why you can tell why this series really focuses on things and decisions for the anglers and their experience, because it's not as much about maximizing for profit. So with that said, this is our third year of this series, and if our average maintains itself, we have grown by 20 to 30 each year, and that's good growth. And that puts us next year putting our average into like 140 to 150, depending on how it finishes. So it's, because we are not drastically worried about every entry fee or every membership as it pertains to our longevity, that slower growth, which I don't know that it's slower, but those smaller numbers are actually great. As long as you show growth, it shows that you're doing something right and want to continue doing it. Now, the biggest thing for our series, as it pertains to the numbers, is for our sponsors, both at host locations and product sponsors. Our product sponsors this year stepped up in such a big way, and we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing without them. We wouldn't be able to guarantee the extra money that we've already guaranteed in the TOC. So the TOC is going to pay out $75,000 no matter what, no matter who shows up the rest of the year. So that's a huge benefit for us, but it's because of those sponsors. And then essentially our host sponsors take care of a lot of our costs associated with the event, the lodging, and all those fees and things that go along with that. So those numbers are more important to them than maybe it is to Hobie, but it all comes around because if those people aren't able to support us, then Hobie won't be able to invest as much as they do into it, just because of how much that could be. So I think that the new owner, Mike Suzuki, and his team, they're really pleased with this extension of Hobie, the Hobie Bass Open Series. I know they're wanting to figure out how to make it better, just like they're wanting to do with everything with the company that they bought. So that's got me excited because I feel like there's a lot of potential for us to. I mean, I'll be honest, it's flattering when people say this is great and it's the best run, but man, behind the scenes, like there's so much stuff that we could be doing so much better. And a lot of that stuff is why there's so much work on me and Steve Fields and other people at Hobie, is because we just haven't streamlined this system and this process. And we're just, the downside of us is we are a large manufacturing company. So people are involved in this series that have other really important jobs in that company. And this is also part of their job, but it just, sometimes things take longer than we would like. And sometimes we don't get messages out as soon as we'd like. So we have a lot of ways that we can improve too. And I think that's the biggest thing with any entity, is that you got to be able to look in the mirror and say, how can we improve? Because when you improve it for yourself, you're improving it for your people that are going to come and fish as well. And so I think that I still feel like we're new and we're getting started with this. We still have so much opportunity to growth. I mean, we've done a whole year and a half of COVID protocol, and we haven't had people together. We haven't had pizza and barbecue and stuff. I think people forgot that we do that. I saw a post the other day and somebody was like, man, setting the bar, with food at an event. And I was like, yeah, like we did that like 6 years ago at Kentucky Lake, and we've done it every year since until COVID, put some brakes on our, way of operating the event, because it wasn't just about coming and fishing a tournament. It was about getting together with all of these people and sharing that opportunity and that network. And I think that that's something that this series has created, and I think that that's something a lot of people love. And I look forward to getting back to that, because we got a lot of awesome people in this community, and there's just not a lot of chances for everyone to get together like that. I just don't have a lot of clarity on Hobie's stance there. The problem is like we go to Texas and it's like, let's go, let's do it. And then when we go to Pennsylvania and New York, it's like, here's the way that we have to do it. Yeah. So it makes it challenging for us to have to change from every event on how we're operating, especially with as short staffed as we are rolling into these events. So, for the foreseeable future, I think that we'll continue to do this drive-through style, but hopefully maybe by the end of the season, we can get, when Rich is allowed to come in from Canada, maybe we'll be allowed to have some pizza or something waiting on the table for him.
Hey, my last event was Lake Norman, and COVID was just on. Actually, when I got back on March 16th, that's when the border shut down close to then. But we had pizza at Lake Norman, if you remember. Was that the last event?
It was the last event that we fed our anglers, except for the TOC. Okay. That was a weird chain of events, because like we were at Bassmaster the week before. And people were like rumble, a few companies pulled out of Bassmaster, and we were like, oh, that's weird. And then like each day moving towards Norman, the reports were getting worse. And then like the day the tournament was about, like the day the meeting was going to start, like North Carolina declared a state of emergency. And I'm calling our host lady and I'm like, hey, what does this mean? And she's like, I got no idea. Like, I don't know what to do. I think we're fine. So we just pretty much operated that way that weekend. And we gave anglers the opportunity to not be there if they felt uncomfortable. But it really changed the way that this whole game has been run. That was like the last weekend that things were even like kind of normal. But everybody that was at that event didn't feel like it was normal. It was like, man, there's a weird vibe here. And I can't wait to bring people back together, man, because that's really what it's all about. And that a lot of times that Friday night, people's tournaments made before they even make a first cast. That experience, those connections. You can have a horrible time pre-fishing and you get in there and then you talk to 3 other people that also had a horrible time, and all of a sudden you're laughing and sharing stories. It changes your mindset. The same way when you come back Sundays at awards, people that didn't even do good came back and supported their kayak angler friends, and it created a different atmosphere, and people came back and almost left like they came back to that defeated, but then they'd come back and they'd be like, man, like so many other people had worse tournaments than I did, and they're in a better mood, or they shared this story or something. And it helps the perspective of a defeated kayak angler when you're sharing that with other people and hearing their other stories. And it's something that we definitely miss. I think that's been one of the most challenging things for me, is to not run an event the way that I think an event should be run, in allowing people the opportunity to network and socialize and to make it a little bit more than just 8 hours each day on the water.
I think the light is at the end of the tunnel for that. I'm thinking if and when I'm going to say when I am able to attend an event in September in Tennessee, that's going to be back in place.
Hope so.
And I'll bring as many of my fellow Canadians as I can.
That sounds good. Tennessee, The Tennessee River loves when the Canadians show up.
Yeah. Well, we've never fished that one before, but we're looking forward to it.
Thank you again, Rich, for doing this, and thanks, AJ, for coming on. And I just wanted to say this fishery is as advertised. So I was going to send you some pictures, and then I decided there was some geography that I didn't want in the picture.
Okay. Well, you just hang on to those hot spots there, Jeff, and hopefully it won't be like usual where you talk about how great you catch them in pre-fish and they're gone on tournament day, and so hang on to that. Don't spike them all.
Yeah.
No.
Jeff's won a few pre-fishing tournaments for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yes, he has.
Absolutely. I cannot tell you the amount of money I've won pre-fishing.
Jeff is the Kentucky Lake pre-fish king.
Oh, that was just 1 year.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Yeah. I know the year that I think you're talking about. I drove home all the way to New Mexico, never turned the radio on once. Ooh. Drove past a state trooper going 110 miles an hour, and he caught up to me and looked in my window and said, like, he was like, what? And got behind me, ran my plate, then got up next to me and gave me I was pretty bummed out about that.
Well, good. You got lucky there. Anyways, I appreciate you guys coming on. I'm going to talk a little bit about our event here in Lake St. Clair, but AJ, hopefully we'll get together soon. I miss you. Jeff, you too. I mean, I think this is going to happen this year. We're going to do our best to come down there in September and fish with y'all.
Well, I got a room for you, Rich. It's on me, okay, if you can make it. All the rest of the Canadians have to pay their way, but I will save a room for you.
All right. That's great. Okay, thanks, guys.
All right. See you
Take
later.
care.
See you, AJ.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
See ya. Yes. There you go. All right. That was great. I want to thank AJ and Jeff for coming on. We had a lot of talk about the Hobie BOS event, and I mean, we got mostly Canadians on here. I see Sean Wilson just joined us. Jody Queen is probably just a few miles from our Canadian border, since he's getting ready to pre-fish for the KBF event this weekend. Good luck to you, Jody. Sean, hoping for that Los Buzos event in December that I'm going to be able to fly over to Panama and fish with you. Nelson, I guess we'll be seeing you soon too. Anyways, the Lake St. Clair get together on Canada Day. It's I'm going to try and follow COVID restrictions, and according to what, even if we open up on July 14th, that means that we can have 10 people gathering. Now, this is just for the camping. So the property I'm offering camping, we have two addresses. We have a lot on Patillo Road, and then we also are the other part of our business is on Blanchard Park. So we're up to about 12 people right now. We still have some openings, and there is another section of the property that's away from everything else. So if the demand is there, I may open it to 30. But I mean, if you're not camping, there's a brand new hotel down the road. We can gather 100 people in the water. No one's going to say nothing because we're within 6 feet of each other. So there's enough launches to get around. There's 2 really good launches that we can get a lot of people off. Actually 3 with parking that we can get people off of. So I highly recommend you want to come out. You don't do tournaments. And again, this is for Canadians unless the border opens suddenly on June 21st when the next deadline comes. But there's 3 really good launches that we can pile a lot of people out in the water. And at that time of year, anywhere on the lake is close to shore, within a mile of shore, we can hit the smallmouth bass. They're all over the place. They're in there. There's some are straggling in their spawn, mostly are post spawn, and they're feeding up again. I don't see anybody else on here. Okay. And the other thing I like to announce is Mariner Sales they carry the line of Burley Pro for North America and FPV batteries. They are warehousing in Canada, and at this event, or on the Canada Day weekend, we will have a 360, a Hobie PA 360 and a Hobie Outback rigged with FPV and Burley Pro products. So if you're interested in buying any of the products, we're carrying most of the lines. If you're not sure, you can PM me or Tim Percy, and we can tell you what there is. You can save on the shipping and pick up some pretty nifty products. Both companies have done a great job catering to the kayak fishing industry. So unless there's any more questions, any questions for the weekend? It's right after the first OKBT event, which is in the Kawarthas. I will be attending there and coming home on the Monday and starting my week of fishing on Lake St. Clair. I usually like to do it that 4th Saturday in June, but I'm going to fish the OKBT event like most of you that are on here right now. So you have any questions about the day and anything about FPV or Burley Pro, you're welcome to message me, and I can help you out. Thanks for tuning in, and have a good night.